What's up, guys? This is Mike from True Business Review, and there's a 1 in 4 chance that if you are watching this, that your NFL quarterback from whatever team you are a fan of might not be running things during 2020. In today's video, we're going to be revealing 8 quarterbacks who have a pretty large chance of not finishing the 2020 season and instead being replaced by whatever backup is on their team. So 8 out of 32, that's 1 out of 4 franchises. That's right, a lot of quarterbacks this year competing for starting spots, and with players like Cam Newton still available on the market and other good quarterbacks as well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So let's get right into things by starting off this list of 8 quarterbacks fighting for their jobs. Starting off, we have Phillip Rivers from the Indianapolis Colts. So Rivers was just moved from the Chargers to the Colts, and honestly, he's geared for success. He has T.Y. Hilton to throw to, similar to Keenan Allen, the star receivers. But in this scenario, Rivers has such a better offensive line. The reason that Phillip Rivers had a horrible year in 2019 was because the Chargers' offensive line gave him no protection. He went 5-11 with the Chargers in 2019, threw for 20 interceptions in 2019, a career high. Now, obviously, everybody's like, wow, Phillip Rivers was trash in 2019. You're right, Phillip Rivers was trash, but is Phillip Rivers trash? Look at his 2018, 1 year prior to 2019. He went 12-4. He threw for 4,400 yards, which was a little less than 2019, but still really good. And he only threw for 12 interceptions that year. So you can call Phillip Rivers, you can say that he had a bad year in 2019, but I wouldn't write the story off of him yet, because he did have a good year in 2018. But there is a chance that Phillip Rivers is finally, at the point where age is catching up. And if Phillip Rivers, if he continues to have the interception problem, he could become the next Jameis Winston. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Phillip Rivers be benched, because the Colts have Jacoby Brissett as the backup. And I could easily see Jacoby Brissett coming in and replacing Phillip Rivers, especially because Brissett did not do that horrible of a job last year until he got injured. So I could easily see the Colts having 2 quarterbacks or multiple quarterbacks in 2020. Next up, this is a kind of an obvious one, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, it's gonna be close to see who's the starter for the 2020 Chicago Bears. We all know who it should be. All Bears fans know who their quarterback should be. But unfortunately, I think Mitchell Trubisky has a really big chance of being named starter in 2020. So for Bears fans, that's not good. Mitchell Trubisky is not a really good quarterback. In 15 games in 2019, he only had 3,000 passing yards and only 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So he definitely, he's not the quarterback that you want leading your entire franchise. Where on the other hand, we got Nick Foles, who they just brought in for quarterback competition, quote unquote. So maybe they're trying to raise Trubisky's game, but come on now. 3,000 passing yards, do you want that, or do you want Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles leading your team? Allen Robinson is debatably the same player as Alshon Jeffrey, so I think that Nick Foles might be able to, make some magic happen in Chicago and win the starting spot from Trubisky. That's 2 quarterbacks that we've already named, Trubisky and Rivers. The third quarterback might come as a surprise, Derek Carr. Derek Carr, honestly, I don't know why I have to put him on this list. Personally, I don't think Derek Carr is in that much of a jeopardy, but John Gruden is making things really sketchy. So there's always been these rumors that him and Carr, he kind of wants a different quarterback if Carr doesn't step things up. But Carr hasn't been that bad. The only thing where I agree with Gruden, look at Derek Carr's winning record over the last 3 years. So in 2016, he did go 12-3 in 15 games played. He went 12-3. But after that, the next 3 years, 6-9, 4-12, and then last year 7-9. So the Raiders have been trying to upgrade their team in terms of offense and defense. They brought in Henry Ruggs. They got Jonathan Abram back from injury. So I think that if this year the Carr doesn't do well, he could be out. And let me tell you why. Marcus Mariota was just brought in by John Gruden. Marcus Mariota was a pretty strong quarterback in Tennessee. He wasn't horrible, wasn't great. So Mariota is going to definitely be driving competition with Derek Carr, and he's another candidate for exiting the quarterback role. Next up, we have Ryan Fitzpatrick from the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Tua is going to be starting week 1. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be starting week 1. I'm not sure what the right decision is. You guys can comment down below who should start week 1, Tua or Ryan Fitzpatrick. But week 1, I think Fitzpatrick is probably going to be starting. And Fitzpatrick, he's a journeyman. He hasn't really been on one team for like a franchise his whole career. And if you look at his records, he hasn't had one winning record except for 2015 with the New York Jets. You know, his records the last couple of years, 3-8, 2-5, 5-8. In Miami last year he went 5-8. He did throw for 3,500 yards and only 13 games started, but I don't think that Fitzpatrick is going to be able to outperform. Let me rephrase that. I don't think that the Dolphins as a franchise are going to side with Ryan Fitzpatrick over Tua Tagovailoa later in the season. I think that as things progress and as Tua progresses in practice and stuff, I think that the Dolphins are definitely going to give him a shot later in the season. So I think Fitzpatrick starts week 1, and then Tua comes in to replace him. That's half of the quarterbacks on this list that we've named. Next up, we have this one's a little sketchy. Sam Darnold from the New York Jets. So obviously, I think that Sam Darnold has really good potential to be a really good quarterback. Obviously, last year he had mono and things were a little sketchy. He did go 7-6 in the games he played in 2019, and but his stats weren't great. 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 3,000 yards passing. It's tough. I don't think Darnold. I don't think the Jets want to give him another chance, but I kind of think they have to. Because you saw what happened when Sam Darnold came out. The Jets were horrible. And their backup quarterback for the Jets is really not strong. The Jets' backup quarterback is, David Fales. So hopefully they're high on that dude. But I think that if Sam Darnold really struggles this year, which I think he will, I honestly don't think the Jets are going to get that many wins at all. I think they'll get, they're going to do a lot worse than last year. Jamal Adams wants to leave. Robbie Anderson's gone. I think Sam Darnold's going to struggle. I don't think it's going to be his fault. But I do think that the blame might shift to him, and I think that might hurt his starting role position. So that's 5 out of 8 quarterbacks. Number 6, Jarrett Stidham from the New England Patriots. Honestly, I don't know anything about Jarrett Stidham, and I don't think any NFL fan should. Jarrett Stidham is honestly a Randy that Bill Belichick, I guess he feels confident about. But, if Jarrett Stidham, he's trying to fill up Tom Brady's shoes. I hate Tom Brady, just like all you non-New England fans do out there. But you got to admit that Tom Brady definitely left a big impact on that franchise. And Jarrett Stidham has to fill his shoes. So anything less than 10-6 from Jarrett Stidham, he's going to be in question, no doubt about it. Nobody, that quarterback room is kind of horrible, so it doesn't really matter who's starting. But I do think that Jarrett Stidham might be losing his starting job halfway through the season. All right. The next one is going to have to be from the Washington Redskins. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, so this comes from the NFC East. We got Dwayne Haskins. I think Dwayne Haskins is going to be starting week 1, but I do think that his job is in jeopardy. Let me tell you why. Dwayne Haskins, he didn't perform that well in the 2019 season. He did kind of have a repertoire going with, I think his name was Sims, the wide receiver, Sims Jr., but him and Terry McLaurin never really got things going together. In 7 games started, Haskins threw for 1,400 yards. So multiply that by 2, you're talking less than 3,000 yards passing, which isn't great. He had a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Haskins definitely showed that he was a rookie in 2019, and the Redskins did bolster their defense, but not really their offense at all. I think that the Redskins are going to be a struggling offense this year. I think that, with the addition of Kyle Allen, I think that Kyle Allen definitely is going to see some starting time in 2020. I think Kyle Allen versus Dwayne Haskins is going to be an ongoing quarterback competition maybe all year. I think it might flip-flop a couple times too. I think they might start with Haskins, then Allen, then maybe end up with Haskins again at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting to see. This is maybe the quarterback competition I'm most interested in. All right, the final quarterback competition and the final guy on this list who's in a pretty tough position. I mean, you guys probably didn't even acknowledge this guy's a quarterback until now. We got Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback for 2020. and he's starting for the Los Angeles Chargers. So obviously, Chargers drafted Justin Herbert in the draft. I don't think that they're going to start Justin Herbert week 1. They're probably going to develop him, which I think is kind of the right move to hold off for a couple games. But I do think that Tyrod Taylor is probably going to struggle with the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers, the Chargers and Raiders, both AFC West, I think they're going to have similar records at the end of the year. I think that Justin Herbert's definitely going to be developing, and I think that Tyrod Taylor, he's probably not going to be doing great. Tyrod Taylor doesn't have the best stats in his entire career. You know, in his in his best year in his career, he started 15 games and threw for 3,000 yards. That's it. You know, that's not great. Wentz throws for 4,000 yards with no receivers at all. So it's kind of bad in Los Angeles. I am high on Justin Herbert, though. I think Justin Herbert, similar play type and play style to Phillip Rivers. So I think Justin Herbert can come in and be an impact player, and I think that ultimately he'll be replacing Tyrod Taylor. All right, that concludes it. Let me relist the 8 players in case you missed it. Phillip Rivers, Mitchell Trubisky, Derek Carr, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Sam Darnold, Jarrett Stidham, Dwayne Haskins, and Tyrod Taylor. All 8 of those quarterbacks are in danger of losing their starting job in 2020, and most likely will be benched at some point in the season. All right, that concludes the video. Make sure you guys subscribe, show your support on this video, and comment if you're a fan of any of these 8 franchises, and say if you want that to happen. Like Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky, maybe you want Trubisky to be benched. So, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching.